All right, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Hope everybody's doing well today, and welcome if you're new. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and thank you for being patient for the intro. We have a lot to go over and talk about today when it comes to PlayStation topics. We have Sony making an announcement today with Ghost of Tsushima PC announcement, which we're going to go over and talk about. But there is seemingly some significance to this announcement for Ghost of Tsushima on PC because there was at least one insider who was claiming that this was going to happen, but this insider is also maybe telling us other things that are going to happen. And so I'm not going to lean like too much into the like whole insider and inside info, who's saying what type thing. It will have to be a part of the conversation today, but I just want to talk mostly about how like I am very confident that a big PlayStation 5 reveal is coming. I don't know exactly when, but it's going to happen this year. That being Ghost of Tsushima 2. I'll be honest with you guys, Ghost of Tsushima being announced for PC, especially in this way where it's just kind of out of nowhere, that to me is essentially confirmation that we are going to see Ghost 2 this year. And that is incredibly exciting because this is also the year of the PlayStation 5 Pro. So we are looking at a scenario where we will potentially see a PS5 Pro Ghost of Tsushima reveal sometime in 2024. And my God, I can only imagine what that's going to look like. But okay, hold on. Pragmatic Hat. All right, Pragmatic Hat, it's okay. No. Pragmatic Hat, it's cool. You can unhide Bill. You can unhide him. It's fine. I see. I understand why you did that because it definitely seemed a little out of left field. But I think you missed yesterday. Bill was here. He made he's a repeat offender. He made the joke yesterday. He was just going with the joke, man. It's cool. You can unhide Bill. No problems. I saw that message you deleted though, man. Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah, no, it's cool. He's not actually, well, I don't know if he's being serious or not, but he's totally fine making that joke because we were talking about that yesterday. Although you got to go watch the stream, okay? Don't ask about the context. I'm not getting into it. If you know, you know. So no worries, Pragmatic Cat. But thank you for being on the lookout there, bro. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Ghost of Tsushima today, but there's something else I want to talk to you guys about, and that is Dragon's Dogma 2, specifically how it's been confirmed that this game is going to be locked at 30 frames per second on the PS5. Now, obviously, I want to talk about Dragon's Dogma 2 and the previews that are coming out, because apparently this game is absolutely incredible. It seems like Dragon's Dogma 2, like, again, based off of what people are saying, is going to be a Game of the Year contender. I'm seeing people say like this game is better than Elden Ring. So I'm like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. But yes, it is locked at 30 FPS. And I think that Dragon's Dogma 2 is about to make a case for it's not locked at 30 frames. My bad. I said that completely wrong. It's the opposite. It is an unlocked frame rate that is hitting at 30 FPS most of the time, but apparently there are times where it drops a little bit below. There are times it goes a little bit higher, but it's basically, for all intents and purposes, a 30 FPS game. I think Dragon's Dogma 2 is about to make a really solid case for why a PS5 Pro may in fact be needed. If not needed, at the very least justified, right? We're also going to be talking about Rise of the Ronin. We have some new information for Rise of the Ronin that I want to go over with you guys. We also have, yet again, more info about Helldivers 2 that we'll talk about, because Helldivers 2 did just get a significant update that seemingly just changed the entire meta of the game. So if you're used to playing, or if you've gotten used to playing Helldivers 2 a certain way, you might have to... you might want to pay attention to the changes that they're making here, because it's probably going to force you to change your play style a bit. And yeah, so guys, before we get into any of these topics here, do me a big favor, hit that like button. It helps the streams out. I also just want to give a shout out to everybody who watches the streams consistently, whether you're tuning in live or if you're watching later on. Thank you so much for the viewership. I also want to let you guys know there are 3 ways you can support my channel and my content directly. This channel is fan funded, so for those of you who do support directly, thank you so much. It means everything. You are literally the reason why this channel is able to produce content the way it does. So the 3 ways you can support: become a channel member, become a channel member, and gain access to some exclusive perks, one of which is the Members Lounge. We did a Members Lounge episode yesterday. I thought it was a really good one. It was all about the PlayStation 2, reminiscing, reacting to some videos, having some conversation. The members that were there seemed to enjoy it very much. So yeah, consider becoming a channel member. You gain access to other perks as well. If you are already a channel member, please consider gifting memberships. It's a big thing that we do here on the channel, and really gets the community involved, gets people excited, obviously, because they gain access to some of those exclusive perks. And last but not least, consider donating a super chat, ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement, anything in between. It all helps tremendously. So thank you. Thank you guys so much. Oh, man. I see Gaming Gaming Survivor, I don't know that that's actually going to support my channel. Like, I see the angle you're coming in from, and I could see the logic behind it. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to result in further support for my channel, bro. But that's funny as hell. All right, so let's dive into the first topic here, which is Ghost of Tsushima. There's been some rumblings that Ghost of Tsushima was going to get announced for PC, and if we head over to the PlayStation blog, this was written up by the online community specialist at Nixus Software. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is coming to PC. We at Nixus are thrilled to collaborate with the talented team at Sucker Punch Productions, who created this critically acclaimed open-world action-adventure. We are excited to bring Jin's story to a new audience and to bring a Sucker Punch title to PC for the first time. The PC version of Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut includes the full game, the Iki Island expansion, and the cooperative online multiplayer Legends mode. For the past year, the team at Nixus has been working hard to bring the Sucker Punch in-house engine technology to PC and implement PC features such as unlocked frame rates, a variety of graphical settings and presets, and customizable mouse and keyboard controls. With ultra-wide monitor support, you can take in the expansive terrain and ancient landmarks with a cinematic field of view. Ghost of Tsushima's Director's Cut on PC is fully optimized for 21:9 and 32:9 resolutions, and even supports 48:9 resolutions for triple monitor setups. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut on PC features the latest performance-enhancing technologies. NVIDIA DLSS 3 and AMD FSR 3 are available, with both upscaling and frame generation options. Intel XESS upscaling is also supported, and if your hardware has headroom to spare, you can use NVIDIA DLAA or FSR 3 native AA to further boost the image quality. The game on PC also offers extensive controller support. Use Steam Input to remap and customize the peripheral of your choice to your preference. For a more immersive experience, use a PlayStation DualSense controller with haptic feedback and adaptive triggers so you can feel the tension of drawing a bow and the strikes of your sword. You can wishlist and pre-purchase Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut now on Steam and the Epic Games Store. If you pre-purchase the game, you'll gain access to the following early in-game unlocks, with the release scheduled for May 16th. Pay attention to that release date. So if you pre-order on PC, you're going to get New Game Plus Horse. So you get a New Game Plus Horse. It's just weird reading that way. Traveler's Attire and the Broken Armor Dies from Baku's shop. And this is from Brian Fleming, the co-founder of Sucker Punch. He says, "We're proud to announce that our friends and partners over at Nixus are bringing Ghost of Tsushima to PC. This is a first for Sucker Punch. All of our previous work is console exclusive, so we're excited about all this, and Nixus was the right team to do this project. With them on board, we knew the result would be nothing short of amazing. Now, excuse me as I go order a super ultra-wide monitor." And so, yeah, this is something that a lot of people have been waiting for. I mean, obviously, we know by now that all of Sony's major franchises are going to make their way on to PC. It seems like Ghost of Tsushima was really the last one that, well, I don't know if it's the last one, but it's like, it's one of the ones that like people were like, it kind of feels like Ghost of Tsushima already should have came to PC at this point. But I think there are a couple of things that they highlight in the write-up here. One of those being that, you know, it's in-house technology, an in-house engine that Sucker Punch uses to make their games. And so it obviously required like extra work on the Nixxes side of things to properly port that over to PC. But that's good because, again, like, look, if Sony's going to bring games like Ghost of Tsushima to a new audience, we don't want to see a Last of Us situation occur. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's just a disastrous launch. The fact that Nixxes is handling it, I think, should give people a lot of confidence. We have Jake Skew27 here with a $5 super chat saying, at work, about to start. It was my birthday on March 4th. Have a good stream. Well, happy belated birthday, man. Thank you for sharing that with me. And I wish you good luck on your work shift, man. Hopefully you'll be able to continue listening. I don't know. But Jake, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. And thank you for all the support. But yeah, dude, Nixxes has clearly been putting in some serious work for PlayStation and for Sony in general with their PC efforts. And so I'm curious, how many of you guys are going to pick up Ghost of Tsushima on PC? I played the director's cut on PS5. I got all of the trophies. Something that I think is actually very interesting about this is going to breathe new life, seemingly, into although they didn't mention anything about crossplay. I don't think there's going to be crossplay, but either way, there will be new life for the Ghost of Tsushima Legends mode on PC. Jake, you're saying you turned 28? Good stuff, man. But did you guys happen to notice the release of Ghost of Tsushima on PC? It's releasing on, let me see here. It's releasing, was it May 16th, right? Yeah. So it's releasing on May 16th. So if I look at the calendar here, that's Thursday. That falls on a Thursday. See, this to me seems to confirm that Sony is prepping a pretty significant Ghost of Tsushima 2 reveal. There have been a couple of rumors that Sony's planning a May showcase, but we have supposedly an insider here. I want to emphasize, take this with a massive grain of salt. It's more than likely that this is just a person saying things, but people are listen. All right, you know what? I'll be honest. I'm not even going to bother talking. I've been down this road too many times. I'm not mentioning who the insider is because we'll see. I'm not giving them any attention. All I will say is this. Every time we've seen Sony do something like this, right? Yeah, I almost did it again. See, this is where I feel like I'm learning. Self-control, self-restraint. I'll be paying attention, though. I'll be paying attention. If they get more things correct, because they have made quite a few different claims. I'll be honest, though. Like, I was looking over the claims they're making, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure these are just educated guesses based on, like, other things we've heard prior or other things we've seen. So, you know, it's like, maybe you are actually an insider. We'll find out. But I've learned by this point that it's like, you know, it's too easy to just fall into that trap. And yeah, you get burned. Usually get burned. But anyway, I find it very interesting that Ghost of Tsushima on PC is going to be dropping in May, because the way we've seen Sony do this previously with their big franchises, you know, like Horizon, God of War, Spider-Man, they tend to release these PC versions at around the same, not, it's different each time, but very close in proximity to the reveal of some of these games, if not all of them. And this is done very clearly, intentionally, to entice PC players, potentially, where it's like, hey, you probably don't have a PlayStation console, therefore you probably didn't play Ghost of Tsushima. So we're going to release Ghost of Tsushima on PC, you play it, and hopefully when you see that reveal of Ghost of Tsushima 2, suddenly you're feeling much more interested in potentially picking up a PS5, right, to play this game. May is when Sony is rumored to be doing a showcase. So I am convinced with this pretty much abrupt announcement that, yeah, we're about to get the reveal of Ghost of Tsushima 2. Of course, I could be wrong, but I am pretty convinced at this point because the timing is right. Sucker Punch wrapped up Ghost of Tsushima in 2020. They released it. They put out the Icky Island expansion. You're saying again with the showcase rumors? Well, it's not so much a rumor as it's just, it just seems kind of obvious. That's all. I'm not saying there's like an actual showcase rumor. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I'm not going to speculate on the showcase itself and what will be there. I firmly believe that this Ghost of Tsushima PC announcement is a lead-in to a Ghost of Tsushima sequel announcement. And the timing of it is just perfect because Ghost of Tsushima released in July of 2020. And, it was supported where it got a director's cut. It got an Icky Island expansion. But it seemed pretty clear if you've been following job listings, which I have been for many years, it's very clear that they very quickly got to work on a sequel for Ghost of Tsushima. And so if we imagine that Ghost of Tsushima is set to get a 2024 reveal, I don't want to assume the time frames too much here because these time frames can be all over the place. For example, when Wolverine was revealed in 2021, a lot of us thought for the next couple of years that it's probably going to come out in 2024, maybe 2025. Turns out, no, it's going to be 2026. Now, granted, Ghost of Tsushima is not a new IP. It will be a sequel, so it probably won't need 6 or 7 years of development time. It'll probably be a little bit shorter. But I do anticipate that if Ghost of Tsushima does get a sequel reveal this year, that's going to be a 2026 game. And I also do think that, again, the PS5 Pro is a thing that's happening this year. And I've speculated in the past that one of the things Sony's probably going to want to do is really lean into any one of their bigger AAA titles that they have in development. I think, a game like Death Stranding 2, obviously, they said that what we saw of Death Stranding 2 was running on the base PS5, which is insane because it's okay, I'm sure this game's going to be PS5 Pro enhanced. What the hell is this game going to look like on the PS5 Pro? But Ghost of Tsushima 2 in particular seems like the perfect game, in my opinion, to show off on the PS5 Pro. If you want to wow people and you want to get people just truly hyped and excited, that's the game to do it with. Techie6, a member for 9 months, says, I expected a PC port of Ghost of Tsushima after the movie to bump up launch sales numbers, but I'm happy anyway that it will get more exposure. Yeah, I'm happy about that too. The idea of Ghost of Tsushima finding potentially a new audience, I don't know how well it's expected to sell, but it is a bigger property, and I do think this is one of those games that people will potentially double dip on PC, because again, it's a game that I think people have been waiting for a while. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's gonna, just like you said, it's gonna expose it to more people. It's been out on PS4 and PS5 for years now. So yeah, let Sony make more money on this game so that they can continue to fund these types of games. But I absolutely think that if Sony's going to, yeah, exactly. The PS5 Pro needs a wow moment. I agree wholeheartedly. I think Sony's going to have to sell people a little bit harder on the PS5 Pro compared to, when they had to sell people on the PS4 Pro. I think one of the easiest things for Sony with the PS4 Pro was you want 4K, right? You have a 4K TV. Well, here's our 4K device. It's not going to be that simple this time around because everybody has a 4K TV now. Everybody's already playing games, mostly at 4K on their PS5, on their 4K TV. So I think this would be a good selling point just to basically lean into check out this awesome game that's brand new, just announced, PS5 Pro optimized, right? Am I going to stream the Xbox Partner Showcase? No, I don't plan on streaming that. I have no interest in it, honestly. If they show any third-party games that I'm interested in, maybe I'll check out a trailer for it afterwards. But no, I'm good. But yeah, dude, Ghost of Tsushima, it looked, I think it did have some imperfections, right? Like if you played Ghost of Tsushima, I've said this before, it definitely has imperfections. And from a visual standpoint, Ghost of Tsushima, it's weird because to me, Ghost of Tsushima is one of the best looking games ever, but it's not on the same level as some of these games with, in terms of like the asset quality and everything like that. But I think Ghost of Tsushima is a prime example of it's all about art direction. It's all about the style, like the graphical style of a game, I think matters just as much. The color palette, right? There's so many different things that work in Ghost of Tsushima's favor that I think they kind of work to I guess cover up certain perfections or at the very least distract you from them very easily. And so the idea of getting a sequel for Ghost of Tsushima showed off on a PS5 Pro. Yeah, dude, it's going to be, I think that 100% could be the wow moment for the PS5 Pro. But it's so interesting to think about this, right? Because Ghost of Tsushima is poised to be one of the most successful PlayStation franchises ever. And so seeing them kind of hold off on putting out the PC version up until this point, I think there's going to be some good synergy for Ghost of Tsushima. I think this could be Sucker Punch's moment. Do I think it's going to be a 30-second teaser or a 2 to 3 minute trailer reveal when it happens? I think it's more likely to be a longer trailer. I don't know if it'll be a full-blown 2 or 3 minutes. That would be insane. But I don't think it'll be a 30-second teaser either. I think what I could see happening is like maybe a minute-long trailer. That seems to be usually the way Sony does it for initial reveals of their games. But I don't know. Then again, with sequels, it's hit or miss, right? Because like with Ragnarok, I remember when Ragnarok got revealed in September of 2020, it was just a teaser. And then I think it was the showcase in September of 2021. They showed like a full-blown like 3-minute gameplay trailer story, trailer hybrid. But yeah, when Horizon Forbidden West was revealed, like that was a full-blown. I think it would be. Here's what I think could happen. You ready? I think we could see a situation where we're getting the PC port in May. I think we're going to get a showcase in May or June. And it's going to be the first of 2 showcases. And I think at the first showcase, Sony will tease Ghost. Not tease it, but they will do a pretty simple, like, minute-long reveal that doesn't show, like, gameplay or anything. Maybe we could get a couple of shots of the game. Maybe there'll be, like, cutscenes or something. I'm thinking right now of the initial reveal trailer of Ghost of Tsushima, and it looked awesome. I mean, I highly recommend going back and watching that Ghost of Tsushima reveal trailer. It was very good. So I could see us getting something like that for a reveal trailer. But then I could see in September Sony announcing a second showcase, and at this showcase, this is where they're going to show the PS5 Pro, and this is where we're going to get a much more significant trailer, potentially. I mean, maybe this is all pipe dream stuff here, but I could see this happening. I could. I guess it also depends on how far along in development Ghost of Tsushima 2 is. But I don't know, man. We haven't really heard much from Sucker Punch for quite some time. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is going to look amazing on PC with all this stuff. Alan L. Gould, member for 8 months. You're saying, hi, MBG. Nice to see you again on stream. I want to thank everyone gifting a membership to the community, and I just got the Platinum in Helldivers 2. Well, that's awesome, man. Congrats on getting your Platinum. Yeah, I got the Platinum for Helldivers 2, I think like a week and a half ago at this point. It was a fun Platinum. It wasn't difficult. It was just a little bit stressful at certain points, but congrats on the Platinum, man. I would definitely say it's not the easiest Platinum in the world. So certainly one I would say worth celebrating. And I appreciate you shouting out everybody who drops membership gifts on the channel, man. Good stuff. Thank you, Alan. Oh, let me get out of this real quick. So, I mean, look, everybody was kind of focused a couple of weeks ago on the fact that, thank you for that, Alan. Yeah, I appreciate that. Everybody was kind of focused on the fact that Sony announced this year that, hey, look, we're not, we're not going to have any big sequel launches, like any huge franchise launches this year. And I understand why people were frustrated about that. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to hear that. But I tried to explain to people, and I know most of you guys know this, but I think it's going to become very apparent, in the months ahead and for the remainder of this year but they didn't say they're not going to have announcements. And that's the big thing here, right? Is that, of course, we're not going to get a Ghost of Tsushima sequel launching this year. Of course, we're not getting Wolverine this year. Of course, we're not getting Death Stranding 2 this year. And that might be disappointing for some people, but Sony, and I've said this numerous times, and it's worth reiterating now, Sony can easily make up for this by just showing people, like, all right, look, you're not getting this game this year, but here it is, and maybe you'll get it next year, even if it's 2 years away. I'm telling you, I've seen this happen enough times to know how these things work, and what Sony needs to do is just show the games. And Ghost of Tsushima 2 could be the biggest reveal we get from Sony this year, and I would be shocked if we don't get it. I mean, again, to me, Ghost of Tsushima coming to PC, that has to be the signal that, yep, okay, we're going to be hearing about the sequel this year. If it's not, I would be very surprised, because that would be Sony doing things very differently than they normally do, and missing a synergistic opportunity, in my opinion. But yeah, I think that if Sony is able to continue to release exclusive games, whether it's, there was the rumor that like they're going to have an Astro game maybe this year. It's going to be like Gravity Rush Remaster, Gravity Rush 2 Remaster, Until Dawn Remaster. So, maybe a little bit heavy on the remasters and a little bit heavy on the third-party partners and stuff like that. But if they can continue to feed games and content to the PS5 throughout 2024, but have some great shows with some great reveals, with some stuff that people have been waiting to see, I think they'll be fine. And, it's weird because it it's funny to me because it's like I'm not excited about Ghost of Tsushima on PC because I don't plan on replaying it on PC. But I am very excited about this announcement because of what it, to me, signals. And yeah, I just hope I'm not wrong. All right. So I want to move on to the next topic here in line. And this is talking about Dragon's Dogma 2 and how apparently this game is not going to be 60 FPS on PS5. Not only that, but there isn't going to be any different type of modes you can choose from on PS5. So this was reported. I first came across it on Push Square. And they say here, we're glad Dragon's Dogma 2 is out soon because this ongoing debate over the game's PS5 frame rate is already out of control. Yesterday, a bunch of fresh previews for the action RPG dropped, and just about every single one of them gushed over how good the game is shaping up to be. Some even went as far to call it a guaranteed Game of the Year contender. So yeah, I just want to say that, like, I don't know if you guys have been kind of catching these previews, but everybody who's been previewing Dragon's Dogma 2 is saying, like, this game is actually incredible. To me, the craziest thing I saw was somebody saying, like, this game is better than Elden Ring. And I'm like, well, damn, dude, Elden Ring is a high watermark for games in this genre. So it seems like Capcom might have a serious hit on their hands here with Dragon's Dogma 2. And Mark coming in with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Mark. You're saying, I don't care what the narrative is of Dragon's Dogma 2. It can get a 10 out of 10. That's irrelevant to me if the game is uncapped and aiming for 30 FPS as the high. It will be nauseating on my OLED. This is an L. No sugarcoating. Well, Mark, I mean, here's the thing, dude. I don't think you're necessarily alone in that sentiment. And that's exactly what we're going to speak to here, where, I mean, I can only speak for me, right? And for me, I've talked to you guys about how I can play games at 30 FPS, but when you see a big game like Dragon's Dogma 2 basically come out and be like, and have to tell you, like, yeah, sorry, this is the only option you're really going to have if you're playing it on console, it does feel like, damn, I thought we were kind of past this. Right, I thought we were at that point where we would be able to get 60 FPS performance modes for all games. And here's the thing that I find fascinating about Dragon's Dogma 2 in this situation is that apparently, like, it seems the game is just simply not able to run at 60 FPS on the current gen consoles. So let me finish reading this so you get all the context here. It says, for many, there's a clear sticking point hiding amid all of the praise, and that's the uncapped frame rate. As outlined in the original article, IGN went ahead and actually analyzed the frame rate during their demo, and it averaged around 31 frames per second, which, needless to say, isn't great for a current-gen action game. The panic didn't stop there, though. Others who played the preview build also noted how choppy the frame rate was. Twitch streamer Oroboro told his audience that the frame rate was really bad, really bad, and that it was definitely not a stable 30 FPS. However, much like IGN, he was informed by Capcom that the frame rate will be better in the finished release. But this is where things get a bit confusing. There are other previews out there, multiple in fact, that clearly highlight a much smoother frame rate. Some, like Twitch streamer Prod, state that the preview build was running at around 60 FPS, but with some dips during busy combat scenarios. RPG Fan also says that the game ran smoothly during their time with it. So what's going on here? Well, it could be a number of things. It's possible that the uncapped frame rate really does fluctuate to a crazy degree, but if that is the case, you would expect more of the previews to bring it up. It's even possible that the fault lies with Capcom in that the preview build itself may have had technical issues. Could something like prolonged play over multiple preview sessions cause the frame rate to decay while resetting the PS5 put it right? We don't know. And so I have another write-up here It says Dragon's Dogma 2 could never run at 60 frames per second on the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles due to the slow CPUs, but a 30 FPS cap is achievable with some tweaks to the game's only display mode. The comments are coming from the Reset Era forums, where Digital Foundry's Alex Battaglia said the drop to 25 FPS seen in the new footage shared online yesterday suggests the drops are caused by the game's 4K checkerboard resolution and not by CPU limitations. By reducing the resolution to 1440p, an optimal 30 FPS cap should be possible to achieve a more consistent frame rate. Additionally, 60 FPS could not be achieved on consoles due to their slow CPUs. Digital Foundry's John Linneman also commented on Dragon Dogma 2 performance on console, saying that an optional 30 FPS cap should be included, as the unlocked frame rate will lead to poor frame pacing, which can only be salvaged by the VRR mode on consoles. It says on PlayStation 5, the issue will be more critical, and the cap would help stabilize the experience, given how often the game runs above 30 FPS, although not by much. So, yeah, it seems like this is going to be a problem. And Mark, getting back to your super chat here, man, I agree that, like, we are at a point where when it comes to new AAA games, it does feel like pretty much unacceptable, to see stuff like this, where it's like, how? Right? And here's the thing, and this is a question I want to pose to you guys. Does Dragon's Dogma 2 look like it, does the game look like it justifies a 30 FPS? I mean, it does look very good to me, graphically. So it's one of these things where it's like, yeah, maybe it is kind of trying to push the consoles a bit here, but I don't know. Like, I'm not seeing anything that's like, whoa, that doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before. But yeah, it does look like a large game though. And so you're saying Elden Ring was 30 FPS, wasn't it? Elden Ring did have a 60 FPS performance mode, but I do think it had a couple of issues at launch. TMS, you're saying MBG, a better question is, why are PS5 users paying a fee to play Helldivers 2 online, and on PC they are not? Yeah, that's just the way it is, bro. I've spoken on that before, how I do think it's pretty much bullshit, and it is frustrating. It is. It's just it's one of these things where if you're like me and you choose to play on console, you do have to essentially just be okay with, all right, yeah, I'm going to pay for PlayStation Plus. But yeah, it's one of these things where here's what I think is going to happen in the future. I think Sony is going to put out their own PC launcher, and future games, I don't know when it's going to happen, but future multiplayer games, I think Sony's going to keep it locked to their PC launcher, and they're going to force you to pay for PS Plus. That's my guess. But right now, yeah. I mean, that's also bullshit. But right now, it just sucks, dude. Like, I've been saying for years that Sony and Microsoft, they should not be charging people to play games online. Like, it's ridiculous, dude. But what are you going to do? I mean, I guess you could go to PC. That's probably what, like, that's really the question that you I think people should be asking themselves, is like, if you do have a problem paying for PlayStation Plus, is it annoying enough to you and bothersome enough that you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to go to PC? I think for some people, the answer is yeah. And then they go to PC and that's it, and they never look back. I think for other people, it's And I'm one of those people where it's like, it sucks and it's annoying, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to, that's going to be the thing that makes me go, oh, you know what, I'm going to go to PC now. Maybe one day I will, but I don't know. I still like the console experience, even if it is annoying with some of the shit like this. You ran away from PC. Jeez. Devilshear's like, yes, this is our time. This is our time to rise. But I just want to say, I think Dragon's Dogma 2, look, is it an optimization problem? Maybe. That's the question I think that a game like Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to it's going to bring up, is it's going to make people ask, like, is this game going to basically run at 30 frames because it's just not possible? It's just too ambitious. It's doing too much under the hood, and the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, they just can't, they can't do it. They can't do it at 60 FPS. Is it that, or is it the devs just really were not able to properly optimize the game to get a functioning 60 FPS performance mode ready by the launch of the game? I mean, it would be nice to have the answer to that question, but I don't think it really matters that much, right? I say this because it's just like, regardless of what the answer is, this is the result. So when we think about a mid-gen refresh console like the PS5 Pro, my question is, what would a PS5 Pro do for a game like Dragon's Dogma 2? If the devs were simply not able to get a 60 FPS performance mode, right? Because maybe they didn't have the time, maybe it was just too complicated for them. Whatever the reason might be, it's like it's on the devs, and they just weren't able to optimize it enough. Would the PS5 Pro, because here's the thing about Dragon's Dogma 2, it is an uncapped frame rate. I would like to know, what would the frame rate for Dragon's Dogma 2 look like running on a PS5 Pro? How much closer to 60 FPS is it going to get to? Could the PS5 Pro basically brute force this game to 60 FPS? I mean, obviously we won't know until a console like that is out, but I do think that games like Dragon's Dogma 2 make the case for a mid-gen refresh. However, it doesn't mean that, well, I was going to say it doesn't mean that we should just accept these, 30 FPS games, but what if we don't have a choice going forward? What if Dragon's Dogma 2 is basically the beginning of what we can expect going forward, where as more games begin to kind of, I guess because that's the thing, is like, most of this gen has been cross-gen so far, but are more games going to start pushing the limits of the PS5 and Xbox Series X hardware? I think the answer is obviously yes. Of course they are. And as that happens, are we going to see less and less performance modes, less and less 60 FPS modes? Is Dragon's Dogma 2 potentially the beginning of this? I don't know. I think it might be. Perfect Image with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much for that, man. You're saying, hey, BG, how are you? Well, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well. You're saying, just started playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla from Extra. I didn't know this game was that good. And wife likes then me playing, you're saying your wife likes it, then me playing GTA all day. She can't wait for Rise of the Ronin and Ghost 2. Yeah, dude. So we do have some new information about Rise of the Ronin that we're going to go over in a little while. But yeah, I mean, dude, I don't play Assassin's Creed, but I heard Valhalla was pretty good. I don't know. I've never gotten into Assassin's Creed for some reason. I don't know why. Like, it just never appealed to me. People have asked me on my channel, like, how come you don't cover Assassin's Creed? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I never had like a problem with it. I think it just passed me by. But I'm glad to hear you're getting some value out of Extra. Speaking of PS Plus, that's good. And yeah, dude, I'm waiting for that Ghost 2 reveal. IP Gaming, you're saying MBG, that take sounds ass backwards. Well, what do you mean? What about it is ass backwards? I mean, I don't know. I guess just from my perspective, I just see it as like, if this is a problem we're going to run into, where we're going to start to see more and more games that, look, we are not tethered to the PS4 anymore. So we can just focus this game on the PS5. We could see how much we could do. How far can we push it? A lot of people have been saying this entire generation that, like, damn, dude, it feels like the PS5 has hardly been pushed to its limit. I mean, I feel like this is a common thing we see every generation. You're saying as we get better with the new gen consoles, we should be getting better optimization, utilizing HDMI 2.1, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, yeah, that makes sense too, IP gaming. But yeah, I guess it maybe does boil down to like it's an individual kind of case by case basis here, where I think there is going to be like a broad push in a way where it's like, yeah, we might start seeing less 60 FPS performance modes, like in general, as games start to get a little bit bigger and a little bit, like for example, like GTA 6. Like the GTA 6 is not going to be 60 FPS, dude. You know, like it's not going to be 60 FPS on these consoles. Maybe on the Pro. But that's the thing, dude. Is like, yeah, could this be a Capcom only problem? Well, it's weird because like I feel like we had this conversation with a game like Starfield, right? Like that Starfield, the big conversation around it was like, oh, 30 FPS. And pretty much what we discovered and what a lot of people were trying to like let people know is like, dude, it's their engine. Like it's their engine is like CPU bound and it's just not happening. So you do have to wonder, like, is this a similar situation? Is it the game engine? Is it CPU bound? I mean, Digital Foundry says it does have to do with the CPU. So I don't know. I mean, it's like, if that's true, like if that's true, you do have to wonder, like, how much would a Pro really help a game like this? Saying some game devs are lazy. I don't think it's laziness necessarily, because I mean, sure, are there probably some lazy game developers out there? Of course. But for a game like Dragon's Dogma 2, like, I just don't get the impression that it's like, oh man, they're half-assing it. I don't get that impression from that game. I get the impression that like they're doing their absolute best, but there's just some type of limitation. Like there's just something stopping them. And I don't know if it is as simple as if we were to just optimize harder. I mean, maybe. I mean, at the very least, Digital Foundry, they're chiming in. They're saying that, look, at the very least, Capcom, what you should try to do is get a capped 30 FPS. So the frame pacing isn't all over the place. But you know, I do think we have to ask that question, guys. I think it's important because we are now entering the second half of the PS5's life cycle. We do have to start to ask the question, like, and I think it's the same exact question that development teams probably have to ask themselves, which is like, are we targeting 60 FPS here? Or are we not? Because if we choose not to target 60 FPS, we could probably do a lot more on a technical level. And I think that there is a chance we could see, again, like more. And I don't think it'll be for lack of optimization. I think we're just going to see more games, you know, potentially just be like, yeah, sorry, like it's just 30 FPS. We got too much shit going on under the hood. Devil Shooter is saying these consoles are weak. Let's just call it how it is. I mean, I'm not convinced that they're weak necessarily. I don't think it's that they're weak necessarily. I think it's just that I think we just are at a point where I don't know, are things moving too quickly? It's hard for me to determine that because I don't follow like PC that closely. Like, how far ahead is PC compared to PS5 and Series X? Pretty far ahead at this point, right? Am I wrong about that? Like that's I feel like that's kind of what I hear. It's pretty far ahead already. And so it's like the quicker that these things evolve. Yeah, they said 8K on the box. So stupid, dude. Like, why? That's so cheesy. Yeah, why would they put 8K on the box? My 4080 is over 40 teraflops. All right, well, it's safe to say that they're well ahead then. You can't build a PC close to PS5 specs for $500. I mean, that I do believe. I would have to research that myself, but I would believe that. You're saying the 4090 is beyond the moon compared to PS5. Okay, so it's safe to say that we're pretty... Yeah, the PC has lapped these consoles by this point quite a few times. So I guess maybe, yeah, to an extent, it would be, maybe they are kind of on the weaker side. But I don't know, that's, in a way, I guess it's always been like that, right? Where as we get closer to the second half of the generation, that's when developers really start kind of getting down to the metal of it and squeeze out every last drop of performance they can possibly muster up for their game. That's why I'm so interested in the PS5 Pro, man. I know I've been bringing it up a lot this stream, but I am very interested to see like what that does for games, because it's so interesting how the conversation has evolved over the past year, where I still see people in my comments saying like, dude, the PS5 Pro seems totally unnecessary. Why do we need this? But I also see another comment right below it with the same amount of upvotes being like, the PS5 Pro is absolutely necessary at this point. And so I can see the conversation already starting to evolve. Capono, you're saying 30 frames is why you went to PC. You just can't do it. Silent Spartan, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, buddy. You're saying the problem is people think the PS5 is super powerful because it was stronger than the PS4. The PS5 is below average by most metrics. Yeah, it's that makes sense, because the PS4, I mean, by the time the PS5 came out, the PS4 really was showing its age, like big time. And so I guess it makes sense that when the PS5 comes out, it does feel, I guess, like, if you're just focused in on the console space, and it did feel cutting edge, truthfully. Like, I remember following up to the launch of the PS5, like, it felt very like, wow, like, man, Sony's really pushing this thing, right? And I guess maybe that's going to be again, why it's so interesting to see, like, all right, if the PS5 by this point is like below average by most metrics, then how is a console like the PS5 Pro going to stack up? And what is the PlayStation 6 going to be like? Obviously, these are questions we will get answers to, but I mean, the idea of Dragon's Dogma 2 being 30 FPS. See, this is another thing too, where obviously Sony is embracing PC. We just talked about Ghost of Tsushima getting announced for PC. Sony is embracing PC. They have been, but Sony still wants people to buy their console rather than go to PC. Like, Sony obviously still wants that, and I feel like this is probably why the Pro, more than anything, exists. I think this is, like, Dragon's Dogma 2, I think, is a perfect example of why Sony's like, we should probably make a PS5 Pro. Because think about it. If it's true that we're going to start to see more games run into this problem because maybe the PS5 is starting to show its age a little bit, right? Even though it's not that old. But it's like, okay, yeah, developers are starting to move forward again, and you're going to start seeing more games at 30 FPS. A game like Dragon's Dogma 2, I mean, I look at Mark's super chat, like, one of the things I said is like, yeah, people do feel that way. And the thing is, people who feel that way, like people who are like, dude, 30 FPS is unacceptable, I'm not doing it. They basically have two options. Either don't buy the game or go buy it on PC. Also, Dragon's Dogma 2 is releasing on PC, right? Pretty sure it is. right? And I think that that's where it's like, the more games that are going to come out and be like, yeah, sorry, it's only 30 FPS. The more games that come out like that on console, the more people, and especially as Sony is putting more and more of their games on PC, the easier it's going to be for people to just say, I'm just going to be done with console then, and I'm just going to go to PC. And that doesn't help Sony. So I think a Pro is necessary to act as that kind of answer where it's like, well, before you think about going to PC, we have a solution. You know what I mean? It's not PC, but it's our own solution where it's, I don't know, I guess like maybe the Pro is going to start to be like the kind of, I mean, I'm hesitant to use this word, but it's the best one I can come up with right now, like a guaranteed 60 FPS on console. I don't know. And we have Ian, or Zion. I don't know. Maybe it's Zion or Zion. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, dude. Sorry. I feel like I have this problem every time. But member for 9 months, you're saying, I've been finding myself wanting to purchase my PlayStation games on my gaming PC due to these limitations on consoles. Well, yeah, man. See, that's the thing is, this is the risk that Sony runs in the more they embrace PC and the more they like make it clear, like, you can get our games on PC. You might have to wait for it, but you will get them. The more the more people are going to say, well, maybe I will get a PC and I will wait. PC gaming is, I mean, I don't know how healthy PC gaming is. Like, I don't know the state of PC gaming, but it seems, based off of what I see, it's doing well. And a lot of people, at least a lot of people on the channel here and in general, always talk about it. And so I do think it's going to be important for Sony to offer something, to offer an option, an alternative. And I get it. Like, look, I get it, man. I if there's one thing that I just refuse to ever do is argue with a PC player, because there's nothing to argue about. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if somebody says, I think PC is the best experience, and here's the list of reasons why, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Of course. Like, more power to you, man. You know what I mean? Like, good shit. But it's like, I don't know. I've always tried to explain that there is, at least for me, that's just, maybe it is just a nostalgia. It's just a preference. I don't know. Something in my brain. It's just like, I like consoles, man. I do. Maybe I got some kiddie brain. I don't know, but I do. I like consoles. And to me, that's where it's like, I would be that person where it's like, Sony, look, I don't want to have to go to PC. So, please offer me an option, an alternative, potentially. Because if you don't, one day I probably will go to PC, and I'm seeing it, like, more and more people are getting fed up. I'm sure that's getting clipped and being used against you. I mean, maybe, I guess. I think I'm speaking very positively about PC, but, somehow, some way that's going to be used against me. PlayStation fanboy admits kitty brain console, whatever. Like, obviously it's a joke. Everybody plays consoles, and everybody plays on what they play on for their own reasons, man. And I just don't, I think we are at a point where I don't know that there's really, truly, I don't think it's worthwhile having arguments or even just, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like comparing things. That's fine. But a lot of people get very argumentative about this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't think it matters, because here's what I'll say. Like, if Sony went day and date with all their games, right? Like, every game going forward, every single one dropping day one on PC, and they have a PC launcher that you boot it up, and it's basically the exact same thing you would see on PS5, but it's on PC. It's their own launcher, and PS Plus is over there on PC. Yes, for somebody like me, it's like, well, damn. I mean, a PC is basically now a PlayStation console, except you can customize it and do whatever you want with it. But because I also, like, again, even in that moment, at that point, I would probably I would probably give it a shot and see what's this like, let's see. I would definitely give it a shot eventually down the road if it becomes that. But when Sony like shows the PlayStation 6, that's definitely going to be something for me where it's like, I'm still going to care about that. Like, I'm still going to care about that no matter what, because it's like, I don't know. I like consoles. So I guess what I'm trying to say ultimately is where I may find myself in the future, maybe it'll be at the end of this generation, maybe sometime in the PlayStation 6 generation, but just sometime down the road, is probably playing on both, realistically, and just kind of picking and choosing in certain scenarios. Like, what do I feel like playing on? Do I feel like playing on PC? Do I feel like playing on my PlayStation, And I think that's basically what it's going to turn into. You guys are telling me to check VGC. All right. Man, I got a pain in my neck, man. I don't know what it is. Like a nerve. All this PC talk, man, giving me tension in my damn neck. It feels like kind of like a muscle knot. You're saying if there's full integration, then yeah, that'd be enticing to say the least. Yeah, exactly. Like if Sony basically creates a scenario where it's like basically what Microsoft says. It's like, we don't care where you play. Like, you can choose to play on PC and get the full PlayStation experience, or you can buy the console and get the full PlayStation experience. If Sony were to do that in the future, it's like there's at that point there's no argument to be had where it's like, just choose. Just choose. How do you want to engage with PlayStation? You're saying PlayStation is a PC with a lot less hassle. It's interesting. Before I read the rest of these chats, I just want to say, what's interesting is I've heard a lot of people tell me over the years that like playing PC is annoying. Like, it's just annoying. Like, it is a hassle, and it's like you have to do all these different things to run different games, and you're just always running in the shit that you got to do. Now, I don't know if that's true, because again, I have not, like, my experience with, like, I don't think I've ever played a AAA game on PC. I have played PC games before, but I don't recall ever like booting up Steam and playing a AAA game or something like that. So I have no idea like if that's true or not. And I imagine it's, what I think it is? If I had to guess, I think it's one of these things where if you care enough, like if you're that type of person where it's like, I really care about having the most amount of options at my disposal when playing games, then I could imagine any hoops you may have to jump through or any roadblocks that you have to put a little bit of extra effort in to correct, so to speak, to make that happen. I could see why the mentality turns into, it's not that big of a deal. Because it's like the desire is so strong that whatever is in your way, it's so minimal. It's like, it's not a big deal. To whereas I guess if that's really not that important to you, ultimately, like it's a little bit important, but really not that important, I could see where a person who runs into that just says, you know what, this is getting annoying. Like if I play on console, I don't have to worry about this. I could see, you know what I mean? It's not difficult, psychologically speaking, to see how people's minds work in these different scenarios. Exactly. Like you're saying, tinkering games can be annoying, but it can pay off. And I think that's all it comes down to. I think it's all it comes down to. Like is that payoff you speak of, I think it's different for each person. Yeah, I do know that. You're saying you got us to help you, MBG. Nothing to worry about. Yeah, it's pretty clear. Dude, Devil Shooter will be there. I know he'll be like, bro, I got you. Devil Shooter wants to see me go to PC so bad. He's like, PC's easier than it ever was. You know, another thing too, it's interesting for me because I have two different setups. You know, like I have my PC set up here, which I do for YouTube and whatnot, and, you know, random internet stuff. But I don't see myself like, well, you know, it's funny. I probably could just run a cord. We'll see. We'll see if I ever decide to play on PC. I think for me that day will probably. I said it would come for Hellblade 2, but now I'm not so sure. Like at the rate Microsoft's going, I'm actually more inclined. I feel the way PC players feel about PlayStation, about Xbox. So like I feel like I'm at a point where I'll just wait to see what Microsoft does, because like I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I will wait to see if Hellblade 2 actually ever does make its way to PlayStation, because that is how I would prefer to play it. Like if they do have plans where it's like, yeah, we're eventually going to do a PS5 release with a platinum, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'd prefer to do it that way. But saying there's a rumor that Starfield's coming to PS5 in November. I mean, I believe it. I believe it. I wouldn't be surprised if that turned out not to be true, but it seems to be right now the direction that Microsoft's going in. You can see Hellblade 2 coming to PlayStation next year. That would be that'd be so interesting, dude. If we do end up seeing like a kind of scenario where it's like, yeah, a year later, that's kind of how this is going to work. That'd be so funny. Chris B, member for 42 months. Thank you, man. Saying, keep it up, MBG. Well, thank you, bro. I'll do my best. Thank you guys for all your support. You're saying, SB Digital, it puts it nicely. I love PC, but PlayStation has my heart. Yeah, bro. PlayStation's got my heart, man. That's funny. We got Mark with a $5 chat saying, your response to my super chat is exactly how I feel. Appreciate the honesty. Dragon's Dogma 2 is exactly why a pro is needed. Well, yeah, man. I mean, I like, here's the thing. I think sometimes, and I'm not speaking to you when I say this, Mark, and I'm probably not speaking to most of you here, but on a rare occasion, I do see that there's a bit of a misconception that when I say like, oh yeah, I can play at 30 FPS, that people take that as like a defense. So you're just totally fine with it then, right? It's like, no, like I don't like 30 FPS. I don't like it. Like I can accept it if I have absolutely no choice, but I don't like it. And Dragon's Dogma 2 is serving as that kind of example. Again, as somebody who doesn't play on PC, it is serving as that example where it's like, this is annoying. You know, like it is annoying that I've gotten so used to playing so many games at 60 FPS, even if the image quality is reduced. And like, yeah, dude, I'll be honest, like I did go back to the 60 FPS in Rebirth. It's, you know, it's not that great looking right now. It's definitely not. It's very blurry, but I can't deny, like, I don't know, I guess maybe as I get older, it's like my eyes have a greater appreciation, I think, for that 60 FPS. And so I do find myself getting more annoyed when that option isn't available. Not because it's like, oh man, Dragon's Dogma 2, not even going to be worth playing now. But in all seriousness, man, it does make me wonder, like, is Dragon's Dogma 2 a game that should I wait? I don't want to. I probably won't, but it's like, it's just a question pops in my mind. Should I wait? Knowing there's a PS5 Pro coming, knowing it's an uncapped frame rate. Because what would be even more annoying to me is if I were to play Dragon's Dogma 2 and I'm like, okay, I'll just get through this at 30 FPS, my eyes will adjust. Won't be the ideal way, but I'll still enjoy it. Because that's the thing, is Dragon's Dogma 2 still looks like an incredible game. And it is an incredible game, clearly. It's going to be awesome. But it's like, if I play it, you know, throughout March and April, maybe even May, get everything out of it that I want, and then it's like at the end of the year, check this out, bro. Dragon's Dogma 2 runs at a locked 60 or something like that, you know? On the Pro, I'd be like, damn, I should have waited. It'll be 40 FPS on the Pro. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, in that case, maybe it wouldn't be worth the wait. It'd still be nice to have, though. That's interesting. 40 FPS of it. Well, I mean, yeah, you could be right. We could be right. Because the thing about the PS5 Pro is it's going to have a beefed up GPU. The GPU is essentially going to be like double that of the current GPU. It's going to have, I think, like, what, 60 compute units? So right now, I think there is 36 active compute units in the PS5. So thank you for that, Mark. We have a Treble Champ saying, I'll get a Pro for exclusives, but I think you meant to say, but you'll never get it over PC for third party to choose how I'll play. I'm a longtime Sony fan, and the hardware has been poor. Interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, dude, you know what it makes me think of is one of the current rumors we have about the PlayStation 6 is that Sony is specifically targeting a 2028 release in order to make the console like as powerful as they can. But the biggest problem, I don't even think, is like the timing or anything. I mean, of course that'll help. The longer they wait, the better. But it's also the fact that like they have to ensure that it comes in at a reasonable price point. So I don't know. Maybe Sony is planning to do things differently with the PlayStation 6. I mean, maybe they will go all in with the PlayStation 6. Maybe they'll, I don't know, man. Maybe Sony will just say screw it and have two different SKUs for the PlayStation 6. But I don't know. We've kind of seen how that works out, and I don't know, man. Stop saying compute units. Sounds so silly. Just use acronyms like everyone else. But I like saying compute units. It makes me feel smart. You're probably right, though. I should just say CUs. Gavin says boost to the CPU, double CUs with clock boost plus AI upsampling or upscaling. Pro is going to destroy people. I'm very curious, dude. I'm very curious. I think right now, see, this is where that's why I was talking about Ghost of Tsushima 2 earlier and like a reveal on the Pro or something. Because it's like, I think right now the idea is the Pro is not really gonna, like, come on, like, how much is it really gonna do? Like, well, you know what? That's Sony's problem. Don't ask me. I don't know. That's Sony's problem to figure out. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's like we see the Pro. It's like, well, yo, did you see that game? I think the biggest thing Sony's going to do is leverage their own studios to try to really like, okay, how quickly can you like max this thing out? Devil Shooter saying you think the Pro is going to be, I think the Pro GPU will simply be an Xbox Series X GPU. Yeah, how many CUs does the Series X have? Isn't it like 55 or something like that? That's kind of funny to think, though. So, Treble Champ, thank you for that, buddy. We have Perfect Image. He says, why Xbox hated exclusivity and is doing the same thing. You know, Perfect Image, that I think that's just a question we'll never quite have the answer to. I don't know that we're going to wake up one day and Microsoft's going to come out and just say, hey, this is why we say we're, you know, they're not going to come out and admit their hypocrisy, man. It's just we have to just accept we have to accept, because we have no choice but to accept that, like, dude, in the case of like Microsoft, and it's the same for Sony, like it's the same across the board for all these corporations and all the marketing teams. They will engage with certain talking points or stances, I guess you could say, when it benefits them in the moment. And as soon as it's no longer beneficial, they'll just step away from it. And they never have to acknowledge it. They don't. Like, that's the beauty of it for them, right? Is like, if they don't want to acknowledge it, they never have to, and everybody will just move on because we have no choice. But yes, it's the way these things go, man. If it's something you can use to your advantage, use it. So thank you for that perfect image. We have PS Gamer, as I smash my elbow again. PS Gamer says, I feel sorry for Rise of the Ronin. It will get crushed by Dragon's Dogma 2, similar to what happened to Horizon and Elden Ring. I'm not sure, dude. There seems to be a healthy amount of interest in Rise of the Ronin. I mean, you could turn out to be right. Like, maybe Rise of the Ronin will end up selling very poorly and kind of flop in that sense. But I don't know, if you go on like Amazon, and I'm not saying Amazon is the best indicator of anything. It's hard to determine, but just I happened to come across this recently where it'll kind of tell you how many people have bought the game or who have like pre-ordered it. Like, they'll give you a rough number. So for example, when I look at Rise of the Ronin, it says 1,000 plus people have purchased this game in the last month. So when I looked at Dragon's Dogma 2, it said the same thing. It said like 1,000 plus people, and I'm like, oh, so they're kind of doing similar numbers, pre-orders wise, at least on Amazon. Digitally, it could be completely different. And there's also the fact that Rise of the Ronin, it's not available on other platforms. I don't think it's available on PC. Pretty sure it's not. Yeah, and that too. Smurf for the Win is saying, if Ronin sells half the amount of Forbidden West, the devs will be elated. Yeah, it's not going to be like it's not going to be a massive seller, of course. It's not. I don't think it's going to do like 5, 6, 7 million copies. But if it can do like 2 million, I think they'll be pretty happy. If it could do more than that, I think they'll definitely be happy. Did I see the previews of Dragon's Dogma 2? I did, yeah. And I do think that could be what hurts it. Because it seems to me that Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to review really, really well. It seems like it's going to review really well. Because the previews are very good. And actually, I should let you guys know about this. Hold on. Yet again, something I thought I had up, but didn't. Tom Henderson reports Rise of the Ronin's embargo, it's already in the hands of the press now, is March 21st for reviews. A preview based on the first couple of hours of the game is expected next week. So we're getting Dragon's Dogma 2 previews now. We're going to get Rise of the Ronin previews next week. And Dragon's Dogma 2 is previewing extremely well. So we'll have to kind of compare that to how Rise of the Ronin previews. And since they're both coming out on the same day, they're both going to, I think people are going to have to make a decision, specifically on PlayStation, So we'll see which one ends up reviewing better. I want to play both. I'm going to play both. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to play both at the exact same time. But hopefully it doesn't get crushed. PS Gamer, you're saying you're playing Rise of the Ronin first? I think I'm going to play it first as well. Kyle, 10th time super chatting. Thank you for that, man. What class am I going to play in DD2? Oh, I don't know, dude. I'll make that decision when I boot the game up. You're saying I spoilt my eyes by watching movies with frame rate smoothing. Now I cannot even watch movies in the standard 24 FPS. The judder is now unbearable. See, that's insane, dude. I feel like that's extremely uncommon when it comes to watching film. My TVs have that. I always turn that off on my TVs, by the way. Anytime they have the motion smoothing technology, it basically bumps it up to like a 60 FPS or as close to it when watching something. And it's always kind of jarring to me for some reason, though. Like, I could kind of see, like, oh, that looks interesting. But something about it always looks so jarring. And that's pretty funny that you, I don't know, man. How many, I feel like that has to be a rare thing. How many people really have gotten so used to watching stuff, like watching movies or shows with motion smoothing, that now they can't go back to the standard 24 FPS? You're saying it's creating fake frames. It looks horrible. I think that's what makes it look weird, dude. Like, you can just tell, like, something about it looks, at least to me, like, noticeably off. Like, why does that look weird? I think they call it, like, the soap opera effect. Why do they call it that, though? Soap operas, they filmed at, like, 60 FPS or something? I don't know. But the good news for you, Kyle, though, is that I don't think you have to worry too much. I mean, if you're going out to like the theater or something, yeah, you might have to worry. But pretty much all TVs these days ship with that. So, you know, here's the thing. The fact that all TVs still have that option and that feature built in, it tells me that you're definitely not the only one. It might be a little bit rare, but there are definitely people out there using the motion smoothing technology in their TVs to watch their whatever it is they're watching. So if it wasn't being used, they probably wouldn't waste their time putting it in these TVs. That's funny though. Just because like you would think everything we're talking about here is just applicable to games, but no. All right. We have Josh Z with a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, buddy. You're saying, as someone who is tech savvy and turned the Steam Deck into an all-purpose emulator, I can confirm that getting games optimized is time consuming. I have awful vision, so I can handle lesser frame rate. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, well, I appreciate you letting me know, Josh, because like, yeah, I'm not involved with development at all. So like when I hear about optimization, like truth be told, like I don't even really know exactly what it means. Like in terms of like what you actually have to do. Like my, I guess, just very general understanding of it is you have to learn whatever, like you have to learn the ins and outs, so to speak, of whatever it is you're working with to be able to, I guess, fine tune it, you know, where it's like, this isn't as stable or running as smoothly. So you have to just kind of, again, I don't know the details, right? But you're saying, by the way, MBG, even though I am playing Rebirth in graphics mode, I switched to performance during tuned minigames. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with the 60 FPS mode for now and just and basically just wait for the. No, I mean, I'm still going to play it, but be eagerly anticipating that patch. Like I hope it comes sooner rather than later. You're saying of course it's time consuming, tough shit. This is part of game development. Again, we would never. Sorry, the chat's moving too fast. We would never get some of the best games in history without serious optimization. Yeah, I get that too. Yeah, I understand that side of it too, where it's like, see, this is why I feel bad for the developers sometimes, because I don't know that it's fully their fault. Where like, if it's just, hey, we need more time to like fully optimize this, like we can do it, we just need more time, but it's like, sorry, time's up. We have a deadline. We have to ship the game. You know, like that's where it's like, I do kind of feel bad because I don't think it's ever developer laziness. More so, it's just time crunch, you know? But yeah, I'd be interested in learning a little bit more about this on a deeper level. I don't know that I would ever do it, but maybe I could look that up. How are games optimized? Like what exactly is going on? I mean, I automatically assume it's complicated. I know I'm not a developer, but I don't think you need to be a developer to know that game development is very complicated. PS Gamer, you're heading out. Well, thank you for stopping by, man. Thank you for the super chats, bud. Appreciate it. So, Josh, I appreciate the super chat, man, and yeah, I will say this: when the PS5 Pro comes out, at that point, I think that's for me the point where I'm like, I will not be able to go back to 30. You know. Do I think more people play games on graphics mode or performance mode? Great question. You know what I think? Because we're talking about like consoles. I would say most people probably play whatever the game has on by default. That's my guess. I bet you most people don't even go into the settings to check. I could be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the answer, where it's like most people don't even, you know, like whatever we ship whatever the standard settings are, the out of the box settings, that's what most people probably play on. John, you're saying, man, those textures in Rebirth on performance are so bad I can't do it, but graphics mode gives me motion sickness. You barely pan the camera and everything is just a blur. Square Enix, do better, and Sony. Dude, Rebirth is out here fucking people up, man. That's crazy. Yeah. And Kyle, again here, thank you for the super chat, buddy. You're saying, depends on the TV at the end. Not all TVs can do it properly. SOE, because it gives off a lifelike feel. I suggest using it as a test for natural geographic content, and it would make sense. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I have seen it on some TVs or for like some things I was watching a couple times where I'm like, it doesn't, like, I think some people act like insane about it where they're like, this is offending me. Like, it's like, all right, it's not that serious, man. You know, like, it's not that serious, but I don't know, man. I do feel like you're probably right. It probably does come down to the TV manufacturer and how good the technology actually is. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll mess around with the TV in my living room, the settings a little bit, and see what I can come up with. See how it looks. So you guys were telling me to go check out an article from VGC. Let me go over to VGC. See what you're talking about. Sony has secured the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy as a console exclusive. That's according to a new Washington Post report, which appears to confirm what had perhaps been widely assumed, but not confirmed up until now. While the finer details of the exclusivity arrangement haven't been publicly disclosed, the report seemingly extinguishes hopes of the trilogy coming to Xbox in the near future, at least. Final Fantasy VII Remake was released for PS4 in April of 2020. An upgraded version of the game, FF7 Remake Integrate, arrived on PS5 in June 2021 before hitting PC 6 months later. FF7 Rebirth was released last week for PS5 and will be exclusive to Sony's console for at least 3 months, meaning it's possible PC players might have a relatively short wait to play the sequel. Securing the Final Fantasy VII trilogy as a console exclusive is a feather in the PlayStation cap, the Washington Post article reads. Christian Svensson, vice president of second and third party content ventures and strategic initiatives at Sony Interactive Entertainment, reportedly told the publication that console exclusivity was mutually desired when the remake project got going. Back in the same console generation for the original PlayStation, Sony Computer Entertainment had few franchises of its own, and in order to find its place in a very competitive video game industry, we sought to win the hearts and minds of key third-party developers like Square. That focus on securing third-party deals is integrated in our DNA to this day, he added, and connects directly to how we've worked together on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy has always been one of the primary franchise pillars on PlayStation consoles, Svensson said, adding that Square Enix is one of the best in the business at pushing beyond their fans' lofty expectations and showing off what can be done with PlayStation hardware. Elsewhere in the article, Square Enix discussed the benefits of FF7 Rebirth's console exclusivity. Had it not been on a single platform, the world map would not be seamless, and game design may have had to regress significantly, said Final Fantasy franchise producer Yoshinori Kitase. Well, fuck. See, I knew this was going to happen, bro. I told you guys. I told you that, dude. Sony is going to get like way more serious about like locking down third-party exclusives. I remember saying that. I think it was like a couple months ago, maybe late last year as well. This is not surprising though. It is not. I mean, look, it's nice to have that confirmation though, where it's like people can stop asking, speculating like, is Final Fantasy coming to Xbox? No, it's not. Is Final Fantasy VII Remake? No, it's not. Will it be locked on PlayStation forever? I mean, I don't know about that. It seems like that's kind of what they're saying, though. They're really just basically like, yeah, we locked this down, and it's pretty significant. Yeah, I mean, it makes you question like what other deals Sony might try to land with Square going forward. You're thinking Final Fantasy VII did push console sales enough for Sony to pay for the trilogy? Yeah, I'm thinking that too. I think this may have been a relatively recent thing, potentially. But it does confirm that, yeah, Remake Part 1 is going to stay on PlayStation. It is available on PC, though, so... I find it, the timing of it, I don't know. The timing of this is kind of weird. I feel like this just came out of nowhere. Well, I guess it's not that strange in a way when you consider like, when you consider the fact that it just launched. A lot of, I don't know, man. A lot of What do you guys think about what Yoshinori Kitase is saying about the game's seamless nature? He's straight up saying like, yeah, we couldn't do this. We wouldn't have been able to do this if it wasn't for being exclusive. I'm just like, whoa. He said it, man, not me. He said it. Don't shoot the messenger here. I mean, maybe it's PR. I don't know. Exclusives forever. Exclusives forever. You're saying, to be fair, that's PR talk? Yeah, probably. It does sound like it. There's probably some truth to it, though. Like, maybe to it on a smaller scale. It reminds me of when people were kind of arguing with Final Fantasy 16 when the developers were like, only having to worry about the PS5 version is making development easier for us. And like people, I guess, got upset because they're like, "What do you mean? Nuh-uh." And it's like, dude, it's like it is like that is one of the biggest benefits of exclusivity. Like developers will tell you that. They'll straight up tell you, like, look, man, it just makes it easier. We don't have to worry about we talk about optimization. We don't have to worry about that shit as much. And they still haven't fixed Final Fantasy 16. Yeah, I know, right? What the fuck? This bullshit. Damn you, Square. All right. Oh my god, dude! I told you guys I wasn't going to talk about the supposed. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No, I'm not. I'm seeing all these different posts from this supposed insider all over the Gaming Leaks Rumor subreddit. Starfield is coming to PS5 in November, December. Well-established IPs are also coming to PS5 in 2025. Damn, dude. Is that did that Xbox showcase end, by the way? Was there any? Is that still going on? I think that ended, right? Let the leaks flow through you. Uh-oh, Phil Spencer needs another podcast. He can come on mine. I'll bring Phil on. I'll be very polite. Yeah, I did see that. There was a rumor that circulated yesterday from, I think, a person who ended up deleting their account where they were like, yeah, Sony just bought Arrowhead. You're going to be hearing about it soon. And the CEO of Arrowhead was like, that's not true. Go down the rabbit hole, bro. All right, here we go. Let's do it. All right. So here are all the leaks and rumors. I'm going to go in the order that I see them popping up on the Gaming Leaks and Rumor subreddit. First one, a Bloodborne project, presumably a remake, is teased by the Ghost of Tsushima port leaker. All right, hold on a second, bro. I'm sorry. This is why I can't go through with this. Look. I got to find it. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. I need to tell you guys this because you can determine if you believe this person is actually an insider or not. You ready? It's this person on Twitter that just popped up called Silk Knight. And on February 27th, hold on, I gotta corroborate something real quick. Let me double check. Let me make sure I... $4 days ago. Oh, you know what? Hold on now. Hold on. This is interesting. Okay, this is interesting. So, actually, this changes everything. This actually kind of changes everything. I had this backwards. So maybe we should be paying attention to these leaks that are coming out. So check this out. This person on Twitter, Silk Knight, everybody is paying attention to what this account is saying now because this seemingly was the first person to talk about Ghost of Tsushima's PC announcement. Now, what I got confused by is I reported on what Special Nick said, where he put out a tweet on March 1st saying that he's hearing that Ghost of Tsushima for PC is going to be announced on March 5th. So that's why I disregarded this person, because I was like, this person's just going off what Special Nick said. It turns out, however, that the original post from Silk Knight was on February 27th. So a couple of days before Special Nick. So it seems that if we are to really see who was the first individual on the internet to talk about Ghost of Tsushima's PC announcement coming on March 5th, it was this person, Silk Knight. Now, the only thing that's a little bit strange, though, is the announcement didn't happen on March 5th. It happened today, on March 6th. And he said on February 27th, he said, in the coming days, the announcement for Ghost of Tsushima on PC will take place. Sony plans to unveil the exclusive sequel for PS5 at a mid-year event. And then the next day, he says the announcement of Ghost of Tsushima PC will be made on Wednesday, March 5th. Wait, hold on. Okay, hold the fuck on. It is Wednesday, but it's the 6th. 29 days. Okay. So he was right. He was right. There's no mix up here. The only confusion was there was 29 days. Yeah, I think there was a little confusion because normally February is only 28 days, but it was a leap year. So there was one extra day in February. So I think so they were right. Okay. All right. I won't lie. This kind of changes everything. I did not realize this was actually the first account to claim this. On February 27th, they said a remaster of Final Fantasy Tactics will arrive on all platforms by the end of the year. What else do they say? Let me look a little bit closer now. Somebody says PlayStation 5 Summer Showcase incoming. They respond, it's one of those things you can confidently say, as there's a certainty of a significant event since Sony teased various future PS5 related announcements. Somebody says, do you know something about Bloodborne? He says, certainly, the game will receive more than just a simple remaster, but it will take time. Have you by any chance heard anything about the Ori games coming to PlayStation? He says it's possible, but currently the developers and Microsoft don't have a good relationship, which I think we know about that. Any info about a God of War remake / remaster? There is more than one project related to God of War, even outside of Santa Monica Studios. Oh, shit. Okay. Damn. Who else? Who else would be working with God of War, bro? It would have to be a PlayStation studio, right? I don't think Sony would trust God of War outside of their own studios. I'm just trying to see what else they On February 21st, they said the announcements will not stop. Starfield will be announced for PlayStation 5 with the release between November and December 2024. The 2025 plan is even bigger, featuring well-established franchises in the Xbox universe. I didn't realize that's where this rumor came from this person who I guess maybe is an insider. I mean, at the very least, they got one thing right with Ghost of Tsushima, so we'll see what else they get right. Well, we'll see, man. Okay. Well, there you go. We went down the rabbit hole. I'm kind of glad though that you guys encouraged me to do that, because I was very confused. I thought this person was just parroting what somebody else had said, but this apparently was the first person. Blue Point. You know, it's interesting. I saw somebody mention that there was some kind of rumor that Blue Point is working on the Atreus game. Do you guys remember that concept art that leaked from Blue Point? I mean, it kind of looked like, I don't know. I mean, it's like maybe that'd be fucking crazy. You're saying, God, I hope not. It could be. That would be very interesting if that's what they decided to do. Their own God of War. You want an original IP? Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, I still have no idea whether or not there's going to be a new IP from them. MBG, this guy says Naughty Dog will show their game this year. Where are you seeing that? I was just on his account. I didn't see him saying. I went through all of his replies. Maybe I missed something. You're saying this guy is burning the entire Reddit leaks to the ground? Yeah. Dude, look, I'll be honest, man. I fully anticipate we're going to see Naughty Dog's game this year. There's no way. Like, there's no way we don't see that, right? Like, I mean, it's cool if we get an actual reliable insider, like, letting us know that. Absolutely. But we have to see a new game from Naughty Dog, dude. There's no way we could go another year. That would be too much. To be honest, dude, my concern about seeing a new Naughty Dog game is if people are gonna. I mean, I don't mean to make it sound like, oh, people hate Naughty Dog, or like, I think whatever Naughty Dog does, it'll do well. But like, I think you guys get what I'm trying to say, right? Like, I want to know if there's going to be universal love for Naughty Dog's next game, or if there's going to be some kind of like attitude towards it. And I think that's going to be purely based on what they show, like what their game actually is. Let me see. Last of Us Part 2 for PC is going to be announced very soon. Miyazaki on Bloodborne remake. Insider says it is coming, creating Souls-like genre. DS2 influenced the series. Let me see this. Hold on. All right. Xbox Era stands by the report that Microsoft is planning Starfield. Okay, hold on. That's old. Never mind. All right. Well, yeah, we'll see, man. I would not be surprised at all if Sony has big plans for announcements this year. I feel like they have to. Bloodborne 120 on the Pro incoming. He's also saying that Final Fantasy... God, what Roman numeral is that? Is that 9? No. Is that 9? Or 10? I don't know. 10? 11? What fucking Roman numeral is that? But whatever one it is, you're saying that it's not... Okay, so it was 9. Has undergone drastic changes and we may not see it for years. Maybe that'll be a PlayStation 6 game. Well, no, they have the third remake, the final part of the remake. That'll probably be A PlayStation 6 game. Totoki is watching. You're saying Hiroki Totoki's watching my stream? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dude, I am kind of obsessed with the idea of Bloodborne Remake being a PlayStation 6 launch game. Like I can't get that thought out of my head. Maybe it is hopium, but it's not so much hopium because it's like, listen, man, eventually we're gonna get more Bloodborne. Eventually, like that's obvious. But the thing that really does it for me is just like, holy shit, that would be genius. Like that would be the absolute smartest play by Sony. And I know that not everybody would be happy about that because they're like, you know, people are like, oh, we need a 60 FPS patch. Like, guys, you need to move on. Like, you're not getting a 60 FPS patch for Bloodborne. You should realize that by now. But dude, it would be God, man, it would truly be a because here's the thing. Here's to me what's exciting about that. A Bloodborne PlayStation 6 remake sounds so much more exciting than a PS5 remake at this point. Because I know the PlayStation 6 is still like 4 or 5 years away, but like imagine like how much fucking better it could look, dude. Like, I mean, just imagine like how insane could Bloodborne Remake look on a PlayStation 6, bro? I mean, that to me is actually very exciting, where it's like the game already, it still holds up. It still looks amazing. You know, if it was remade for PS5, it would look amazing. But you know that if they tried to, if they're planning a remake for the PlayStation 6, it's gonna melt people's fucking faces, dude. Like, and that's the thing is, if you're gonna do a Bloodborne remake, you gotta make it look. You gotta push it as far as it can go. Oh yeah, the load times too. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Ray trace the fucking shit out of Bloodborne PlayStation 6 remake. That's probably exactly what would happen. I bet you like you'll see path tracing and shit. Why not PlayStation 7? Even better. Push it to the PlayStation 7. I bet you Bloodborne Remake will be like one of the first games that Sony shows on the PlayStation 6 that utilizes path tracing. And it's going to just blow people's minds. Yeah, don't change the art style. The art style should go untouched. It should just be purely about pushing the graphical limit. We don't need path tracing, man. Just a lock 60 FPS. No, we need path tracing, damn it. I mean, look, if you're going to play a Bloodborne PS6 remake with path tracing, you're going to have to play it at 30 FPS. Imagine opening this year's show with Bloodborne. No way, dude. I do think Bloodborne is still years away. I do think that. That would be awesome, but I don't think so. I know people get annoyed. They're like, why are we talking about PlayStation 6? I know it's early, but it's just because I am convinced where if we were going to see Bloodborne on PS5, we would have heard something by now. So that's why I said Rainbow Six Vegas 3, a launch PlayStation 6 game. Ah, man. And a Bloodborne remake. Fuck it. Let's just dream, man. Let's just dream. How about a Resident Evil Outbreak 3? Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. Too much hope. Yeah, it's hopium overdose, bro. It's too much. Oh yeah, Fizzant. I don't think Fizzant's going to be a launch game for the PlayStation 6, man. I think Fizzant's going to be like The earliest I could see Fizzant releasing is 2030, bro. At the earliest. I mean, maybe like 2029. But keep in mind, Fizzant isn't going to start full production until Death Stranding 2 ships. Death Stranding 2 isn't even shipping till the end of 2025. So yeah, I think 2030. Last of Us 1 remake remaster. Yes. You know what, dude? You know what? How about this one? How about this one? Curious what you guys think. God of War, original God of War remake for PlayStation 6. What do you think? God of War Rebirth. Saying that would be nice, actually. Infamous reboot for the PlayStation 6? Ooh. Yeah, I would love to see. Unfortunately, I don't think Infamous is coming back anytime soon. I think the path forward for at least for a good while for Sucker Punch is more Ghost of Tsushima. You're saying that camera angle is outdated? Yeah, I do wonder how they would handle a God of War remake. Apparently it is happening, supposedly. Or not I don't know if it's a remake, but a remaster. Spider-Man 2 remake. I mean, obviously, I want to see new games too. Obviously, but I'm just not going to sit here and kid myself and pretend that Sony isn't going to remake and remaster this shit out of as many things as they can. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. To me, when it comes to the remakes and the remasters, I know. Well, that's the thing. I know it's like, stop with the damn remakes. We want new IPs. But that's the thing. Like the thing about new IPs, and I think people should try to realize this, they are happening at all times. Like there's always going to be new IP in development, but it takes the longest. New IP takes the longest to develop. And I would just view any remakes or remasters you get as kind of like, just kind of filler, if you will. It's just things to put out there to like, here's something while you wait, It might not be for everybody. It might not be for you, but that's why like I'm fascinated by the Until Dawn remake because I never played Until Dawn and I was not expecting that as a game that was going to get remade, but it's like I'm not necessarily hyped for it. Like, oh shit, I can't wait to play Until Dawn this year remake. But it's just one of these things where it's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, hey, I'll give it a shot. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And I missed it the first time. So you're saying, John, you're saying I love remakes. I get to play updated versions of games I never played before. Yeah, that's basically what I'm speaking to. I love getting remakes of games that I love. Like RE4 remake last year was like, oh my God. Yes, please. Obviously, I want a new Resident Evil as well, but yeah, I'll take that RE4 remake. But yeah, especially for games that I haven't played. Like if Shadow of the Colossus never got remade, I probably would have never played it. And that was an incredible game. Like that's one of those games just like, damn, it's crazy to think I almost didn't play that. So I think they definitely have their place. But I think Sony, I think what people are just truly frustrated about is that we haven't seen enough new games you know what I mean? Like this generation announced, not even released, just announced. And that's why I'm saying like, dude, the second half of the PS5 generation, I think is going to be way different. Like, I think it's going to be way different. I think it's going to be way better. And I think that, I, as well as others, have been saying for some time, like, the best is yet to come. And I know that sounds cheesy, but it's like, no, it probably is, man. Like, that's usually how these things work. Yeah, you're saying the greatest game I never played was The Witcher 3. Yeah. Never did play. Honestly, I've never really engaged with CD Projekt Red's titles. I haven't played Cyberpunk. I don't know. To me, this is like kind of like a Final Fantasy thing. Where it's like I'm afraid I'm going to be right. in that I'm afraid I'm going to be like, I just don't know that this is going to be for me. You know, like I just don't know that. I mean, maybe I think I'm more inclined to play Cyberpunk. I think at some point I will. I've not played The Last Guardian, no. Which I heard is very good. A lot of you guys encouraged me to play that one too. Saying I have to play it. It's one of the best games ever in regards to The Witcher. Got to try Cyberpunk. I can safely say that I would play Cyberpunk before The Witcher. But yeah, I don't know, man. I've missed out on a lot of good games, truthfully. I have an extensive list of games. I don't call it a backlog because to call it a backlog would be suggesting that I plan to go play it. You know what I mean? But right now, I don't know that I have those plans. Maybe one day, though. Maybe one day. All right, let me see. Oops. Okay. All right. I want to just read this to you guys. This has to do with Helldivers 2. The latest patch for Helldivers 2 just hit PC and will soon be deployed on PS5 as well. It's making some interesting changes to the popular shooter, including a new feature that'll make some planets more dangerous. New planetary hazards are being introduced. These are randomly generated environmental threats you'll need to avoid or overcome while out on a mission. 2 examples given in the patch notes are fire tornadoes and meteor showers, but there are many more. As if battling the endless hordes wasn't tough enough. See, this is fascinating to me that they're adding this to the game, because it's like, just when you thought, oh, I'm getting too good at this game, this is a breeze now. Oh shit, now I got to worry about, environmental hazards. Nice. I got to worry about the weather. That's actually awesome though. But it continues here by saying, elsewhere in the update, it makes some tweaks to balancing across various weapons and stratagems in the game. Some, like the Breaker, Railgun, and Energy Shield Backpack, are being nerfed a little, while others, such as the Flamethrower, Laser Cannon, Punisher, and Breaker Spray and Pray, are getting a nice buff. Developer Arrowhead has said its intention is to make every gun and stratagem a viable choice and avoid stale meta builds, where specific bits of equipment are strictly considered the best. The patch also makes Eradicate missions tougher and makes a number of bug fixes, including the anti-aliasing toggle not working on PS5. And so, yeah, it says primary, secondary, and support weapons. Breaker decreased the magazine capacity from 16 to 13, increased recoil from 30 to 55. Railgun decreased armor penetration, decreased damage against durable enemy parts. Eesh. I guess I don't know. That's all I've been using is the Railgun. Shit. Flamethrower increased damage per second by 50%. Holy shit. Sounds like the Flamethrower just became a go-to. I just spit everywhere, but it sounds like the Flamethrower is going to be the new Railgun, man. 50%. Laser Cannon increased damage against durable enemy parts, increased armor penetration, improved ergonomics. Okay, so there you go. That's another one. The laser, I heard the Laser Cannon was pretty shitty. I never actually used it, but now it seems like it's going to be really viable. Punisher increased total ammo capacity from 40 to 60, increased stagger force, increased damage from 40 per bullet to 45 per bullet. And the Breaker Spray and Pray increased armor penetration, increased fire rate from 300 to 330, increased number of pellets from 12 to 16 per shot, decreased magazine size from 32 to 26. Stratagems, Energy Shield Backpack, increased delay before recharging. 380, I guess it's millimeter, and 120 millimeter orbital barrages, increased duration of the bombardment, decreased spread. And there's a ton of bug fixes here. So, yeah, it sounds like this is the first real meta shakeup in Helldivers 2, and Yeah, I saw a video pop up earlier of somebody using a flamethrower against a charger, and they were basically saying, like, dude, the flamethrower kills the charger pretty quickly now. So my question is, how does a flamethrower fare against a Bile Titan? We'll see. You're saying y'all see this type of balancing? The Last of Us multiplayer needed this a lot, but never got it in the past. They realized this time around for factions, it would be constant updates like this. Naughty Dog wasn't equipped for that. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, this is happening pretty quickly. Less than a month. Yeah, I love the 500 kilogram bomb. Yeah, the CEO did deny the buyout rumors, so he could be lying, but I don't think he would lie. I don't think he would engage with that conversation. Josh, thank you for the $10 super chat, buddy. You're saying GT7, I almost said Horizon Ragnarok. Let's try again. GT7, God of War Ragnarok, and Horizon Forbidden West look way more impressive than pretty much all of these games and offer up to 120 FPS modes, which are cross-gen but look much better than some of these third-party current-gen 30 FPS games. I agree with you. Yeah. And I, dude, and you say here, made my choice easy, Rise of the Ronin, March 22nd over Dragon's Dogma 2. I agree with you, man. I do think that what we are seeing is I don't know, honestly. What is the reason for this, you think? Is it truly because these development teams like Santa Monica Studio, Guerrilla Games, is it the money that goes into? Is that where the money goes? Or is it the talent? Is it the combination of the two? I don't know. I do wonder, like, what is the secret sauce? It's like why some of these Sony games look so fucking good, even at 60 FPS. Because I agree, dude. Like the Horizon Forbidden West performance mode looks fucking insane, and that game's huge. God of War looks insane. GT7 looks really good. Wonder what it is. I mean, The Last of Us looks insane. Is it just because they only have to worry about the PS5 and not necessarily PC? And maybe that could be why. Because, I mean, these games are on PC, but it's clear that, like, they had to put a decent amount of time and effort. At the very least, a studio like Nixxes had to help. By the way, I don't recall hearing. I'm assuming Rise of the Ronin's going to have a performance mode, right? You're saying if it's cross-gen, they are building for an older CPU, so import it over to a better one, then it plays better. See, if that, yeah, that's another thing too. Is like Forbidden West, Ragnarok, even GT7, all cross-gen games. Holy dude, what the hell is what the hell are these studios gonna do on the PS5? Like, truly. Like, I don't know when we're gonna see this, but man, it is crazy to think that for as good as these games look, they are still cross-gen. So what more could they do? So Josh, I appreciate the super chat, man. All right, I'm just double checking, seeing if. seeing if I can find anything else. Okay. Yeah, I think we've pretty much... Yeah, Death Stranding 2, again, not to just talk about like graphics and shit, but I mean, Death Stranding 2 as of right now is, I think it's going to be the new benchmark on PS5. Saying the Xbox event was trash. Did it just end now? I should probably just go check. How long was that event? Oh, it's 30 minutes. Okay. Was it trash? Well, I don't know, man. I mean, that's why I didn't care to tune in at all, dude. Like, it ended a long time ago. Okay. Yeah, it seemed like it's just, here's a couple third-party games that you can play on Xbox or Game Pass or something. Jeff is doing a poll. Of course he is. Well, yeah, that's why I didn't bother tuning in, man. I'm good. Where are we at? So we're at the 2 hour and 6. All right. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I think this is where I'm going to call this stream, because we did cover all the topics that I had laid out today. And, you know, I don't want to... I was kind of like lingering around a little bit to see if like something else was going to come out, but we did have the bonus topic with Square Enix as well. Maybe I'll cover that in like a separate video or something. But no members lounge today. We'll have a members lounge probably in the next proper stream, so you can look forward to that. But for those who are members, again, if you didn't check out yesterday's members lounge, it was all about the PS2, which turned 24 years old 2 days ago, which is crazy. So go check that out if you haven't. But yeah, I think this is where I'm going to call it. You're saying the leaker, really quick, the Silk leaker said Helldivers is close to 10 million sales. No way, bro. No way. That would be fucking crazy. That would be crazy, dude. But maybe it's true. Part of me feels like that's too much, but maybe it's true. Maybe it's true, man. I mean, when you think about how it's been on top of the world and like everybody was playing it, but yeah, maybe that's so tough. That the thing here's what makes that hard to believe is like in less than a month, bro. 10 million in less than a month? That'd be crazy. But it is a $40 game, so I don't know. We'll see if they ever announce sales. But anyway, that's going to do it for this stream, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I also want to thank everybody for their continued support. We didn't get any membership gifts today, but, you know, either way, I want to thank everybody those of you who are members. Thank you so much for continuing to be members. And also want to thank everybody who dropped the super chat. Really appreciate all the continued support that you guys show. I also want to give a big shout out to Devil Shooter. He does the timestamps for all the streams. So if you see him in the comments, make sure you give him a thank you. He does a great job with the timestamps. So, by the way, yeah, and if you're not subscribed to MBG Plus, which is my second channel where I upload clips and stuff there, go check that out as well. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm actually starving. So Thank you again for tuning in. And with that being said, I will catch all of you guys in the next proper stream. So until next time, guys, take care.